The most terrifying and forbidden places. A story that combines fact and legend. Have you ever considered that there are places on Earth where, if you approach them, you might never see the light of day again? Places that are forbidden to humans, not because they are private property, but because simply being there could put your life in danger, or even rob you of your sanity. There are places on Earth where mystery and horror intertwine, where facts intertwine with legends, and terrifying stories about them have accumulated for decades or centuries. Some are protected by governments with strict laws, and others are guarded by nature itself. These are not just remote islands or abandoned buildings, but black spots on the world map. Some call them forbidden spots, where if you try to approach them, you will find nothing but absolute silence or mysterious endings. I'm now going to take you on a tour of the most dangerous and strange of these places. But remember, everything you read here is true, and the decision is ultimately yours. Will you just read it, or will you take the madness of adventure to see it for yourself? 1. Snake Island, Brazil. Ilha da Queimada Grande. About 35 kilometers off the coast of Sao Paulo, a small island floats. From afar, it looks like a tropical paradise, but approaching it would be a fatal mistake. This island is inhabited by one of the most dangerous snakes in the world, the golden lancehead viper, which can kill a human within an hour. Its bite literally melts flesh. No one is allowed to enter the island without special permission from the Brazilian government and in the presence of a team of scientists. Even these scientists wear protective armor and move with great fear, as the snake population density there is astonishing. It is said that there is at least one snake per square meter. The stories told about the island are increasingly terrifying, including the story of the last lighthouse keeper who lived there with his family in the early 20th century. One night, snakes crawled into his house through the windows, and he and his family were found stiff-legged days later, surrounded by dozens of snakes. After that incident, the lighthouse was closed, and no one has lived on the island since then. 2. Area 51, Nevada, United States. You may have heard of this famous military base, but you only know a small part of its story. Located in the Nevada desert, it is a top-secret military zone, off-limits for kilometers, and armed guards will chase you if you try to enter. The official story is that the site is used for testing aircraft and secret military technology, but legends claim that the U.S. government hides evidence of extraterrestrial life there, including wreckage of spacecraft and the bodies of aliens. Eyewitnesses, mostly former employees or residents of nearby areas, have reported strange lights in the sky and inexplicable movements, as if the site were a gateway to another world. 3. Gateway to Hell, Turkmenistan, Darhaza Crater. In the middle of the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan, there is a huge crater from which flames have been rising day and night for more than 50 years. Locals call it the Gateway to Hell and say that anyone who approaches it can hear sounds resembling screams. It was created in 1971 when Soviet scientists drilled into a natural gas cavern by accident, which caused a small sinkhole to form. The sinkhole began releasing toxic gases, so scientists decided to burn off the gas, presuming the crater would burn out within a few days, but it is still burning today.
People who enter the zone for extended periods suffer from severe headaches, dizziness, and sometimes even bleeding. There are reports of hunters who never returned, and of plants strangely burning as if exposed to intense radiation. 6. King Tut's Tomb, Egypt. When Howard Carter opened the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun in 1922, what became known as the Curse of the Pharaohs began. Within months, Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's main funder, died of a mysterious illness, followed by numerous deaths among the team. Medical reports have found no clear explanation, but beliefs hold that the tomb was protected by a magical spell, and anyone who violated the king's sanctity would meet a dark fate. Even today, touching some artifacts in museums is forbidden for fear of reactivating the curse. 7. Chernobyl, Ukraine. The city of Pripyat, near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, was transformed after the reactor exploded in 1986 into a no-go zone due to deadly radiation. Buildings there are frozen in time, schools with their books open, children's toys on the floor, and clothes hanging from pegs. Decades later, radiation in some areas remains deadly, and there are reports of giant wild animals and strange genetic changes. Some illegal explorers report seeing shadows moving in empty buildings or hearing footsteps behind them. 8. Fear Mountain, Australia. Mount Warning. Aboriginal people forbid approaching the summit of this mountain, claiming it is a sacred place inhabited by angry spirits. Tourists who have defied the warnings have reported hearing drums out of nowhere, a thick fog suddenly engulfing the area, and sometimes getting lost despite having maps and GPS devices.
Conclusion. These places are not just dots on a map. They are stories of real-life horror, intertwining myths and scientific facts. Some may be explained by physics or chemistry, and others remain an open mystery. But what they all have in common is that they all stimulate our survival instincts, pushing us to take a step back before crossing the line between curiosity and destruction. If you ever find yourself at one of these sites, remember that some doors are meant to remain closed, and some paths are irretrievable. If you like the story, don't forget to follow the page to stay up to date and share the post with your friends. One of them might be crazy enough to try to visit these places themselves.